What's good, Purple Nation? Your boy is back with some explosive Vikings news that's going to shake you to your core. We just witnessed something absolutely insane happen with our Minnesota Vikings, and I'm telling you right now, this changes everything. We thought we knew about this 2025 roster. Listen up, Skull Faithful, because what I'm about to drop on you is going to have you questioning every single depth chart projection you've seen. We're talking about unknown players making veteran moves, established guys getting their jobs snatched away, and front office decisions that nobody saw coming. Here's what's got me fired up today. We've got undrafted rookies literally stealing roster spots from million-dollar veterans. We've got our franchise quarterback facing the most brutal expectations you've ever heard. We've got a devastating injury that's got the entire NFL talking about banned tackles. We've got roster chaos that's making general managers across the league take notes. And we've got free agent options that could completely transform our receiving core overnight. But here's the question that's eating at me, and I need you to answer in the comments. Do you think Kevin O'Connell and Kwesi Adofo-Mensah have the guts to make the ruthless roster decisions that championship teams require? Are they willing to cut ties with expensive veterans if undrafted players are outperforming them? Before I reveal the shocking details that are going to change how you view this Vikings team, I need you to smash that like button if you're ready for some unfiltered truth. Drop a S-call in the comments if you think this roster is about to surprise the entire NFL. And if you want to stay ahead of every single Vikings move this season, hit that subscribe button because we're just getting started. The first story is going to blow your mind about who's really making this roster. Hold on to your jerseys, Vikings fans, because what happened after that Texans preseason game is absolutely shocking the entire organization. We're talking about a complete roster revolution where undrafted free agents are literally stealing jobs from established veterans. Here's the breakdown that's got Kwesi Adofo-Mensah pulling his hair out. Lucky Jackson has officially jumped into the WR4 spot and is making veteran Tim Jones look expendable. This undrafted weapon caught 3 passes for 30 yards and looked like he's been playing in Kevin O'Connell's system for years. Meanwhile, Tim Jones had such a rough special teams performance that he's now projected to be cut from the roster. But wait, it gets even crazier. Elijah Williams, who was signed after rookie minicamp, just put together one of the most dominant defensive tackle performances I've ever seen from an undrafted player. This kid registered 4 pressures on just 15 pass rush snaps and was consistently in the backfield destroying quarterbacks. He looked like Aaron Donald out there, and now the coaching staff is scrambling to find him a roster spot. And here's where it gets brutal for the veterans. Taki Taimani, who made the opening day roster last year and was supposed to be a key rotation player, got relegated to the 3rd team and only played 12 snaps. That's not just a demotion, that's career-threatening territory for a guy who was supposed to be a cornerstone of this defensive line. The quarterback situation is equally insane. Sam Howell, who's been struggling throughout training camp, suddenly looked like a completely different player and went 11-13 for 105 yards with perfect decision-making. Meanwhile, Brett Rypien looked absolutely lost, going 1-4 for just 6 yards and basically playing himself off the roster. But here's the most shocking part. Max Brosma, an undrafted rookie quarterback, is throwing with such anticipation and accuracy that he might actually force his way onto the 53-man roster. This kid is making throws that veteran quarterbacks struggle with. The defensive line situation is even more dramatic. Gabe Murphy and Bo Richter combined for 2 sacks and looked absolutely unstoppable rushing the passer. Murphy registered an 1. 5 sacks and 5 pressures in just 30 snaps proving he's completely healthy after missing most of last season with a knee injury. Here's what's really got me fired up. This isn't just about individual performances, this is about the Vikings front office having the courage to make championship-level decisions. Are they willing to keep the best players regardless of draft status or salary? Are they going to prioritize production over politics? What do you think, Purple Nation? Should the Vikings keep these hungry, undrafted players who are outperforming million-dollar veterans? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this roster battle is just getting started. Next up, we're diving into how these roster projections are completely exploding everything we thought we knew about this team. Vikings fans, what I'm about to tell you is going to completely shatter every preseason prediction you've heard. We're witnessing the most dramatic roster upheaval in recent Vikings history, and established veterans are literally fighting for their NFL lives. Let me paint this picture for you. After one preseason game, the entire depth chart has been flipped upside down, and players who were supposed to be locks for the roster are now sweating bullets. This isn't just position battles anymore. This is full-scale roster warfare. T. Chandler, who was supposed to be the clear RB3 behind Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason, just got his world rocked by Xavier Scott. Chandler carried the ball 5 times for just 5 yards and looked completely out of sync, while Scott was making explosive plays and dominating special teams. Chandler's explosiveness is still there, but his vision is gone, and that's absolutely fatal for a running back fighting for roster spots. The linebacker situation is even more brutal. Brian Asamoah, a former third-round pick, played 23 snaps deep into the game, which is basically the coaching staff's way of saying prove you belong in the NFL. Meanwhile, Kobe King, a 6th-round rookie, played 29 snaps and looked like he's been in Brian Flores' system for years. Asamoah is officially on the outside looking in, but here's where it gets absolutely insane. At cornerback, Khalef Haylasia and Ambry Thomas both picked off passes, but that might not even be enough to save their roster spots. Zemiah Vaughn played 37 snaps and looked like a legitimate NFL cornerback, while Mekhi Blackman, he got 34 snaps to shake off the rust from missing all of 2024. The competition is so fierce that even guys making interceptions might get cut. The defensive tackle room is absolutely loaded with talent that won't make the roster. D.I. Fitz, Jonathan Harris, and Travis Bell-Cartanielli are legitimate NFL players who are going to get cut simply because the depth is too deep. This is the kind of problem championship teams dream about having. Here's what's really got the coaching staff buzzing. Max Brosmer is playing his way onto the roster with throws that are making veteran quarterbacks jealous. His ability to throw with anticipation across the middle of the field is exactly what Kevin O'Connell's system demands, and he's doing it against NFL defenses. The wide receiver room saw Lucky Jackson absolutely dominate his opportunities and establish himself as the clear WR4, while guys like Dante Fleming and Robert Lewis played themselves right off the roster. Jackson's route running and hands looked NFL ready from day one. But here's the shocking reality. The Vikings have so much talent that legitimate NFL players are going to be available on waivers. Teams around the league are going to be salivating at the opportunity to claim these guys who just aren't going to make Minnesota's roster. This is what happens when you have a front office that's not afraid to make tough decisions. Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah and Kevin O'Connell are building a roster based on merit, not draft position or salary. What's your take, Skull Nation? Do you love seeing hungry rookies outwork established veterans, or are you worried about cutting ties with experienced players? Let me know in the comments, but wait until you hear what CBS Sports is saying about our franchise quarterback This next story is going to blow your mind, Purple Faithful. What I'm about to tell you is going to send shockwaves through your entire understanding of what JJ McCarthy is walking into this season. CBS Sports just dropped the most brutal expectation on our franchise quarterback, and it's got me absolutely fired up. Here's the reality check that's got everyone talking. Tyler Sullivan from CBS Sports just went on CBS Sports HQ and delivered the most direct assessment of McCarthy's situation I've ever heard, he said, and I quote, JJJ, McCarthy is expected to elevate this team. Let that sink in for a second, Vikings fans. This isn't about managing the game or just not losing it for the team. This is about taking a 14-win team that made the playoffs and making them better. That's championship-level pressure on a second-year quarterback who missed his entire rookie season with a torn meniscus. Sullivan continued with even more pressure. There's a lot of pressure on this kid, but we have seen him perform at high levels, winning a national championship at the collegiate level. The question for McCarthy will be whether he can handle this team's playoff expectations for this season. Here's what's absolutely insane about this situation. The Vikings let Sam Darnold walk to Seattle on a 3-year, $100 million deal, specifically to clear the path for McCarthy. They're betting the entire franchise on a quarterback who has thrown exactly 4 NFL passes in a preseason game. But here's what's got me excited about this pressure. McCarthy showed up in that Texans game and looked absolutely unfazed. He went 4-7 for 30 yards in limited action, but more importantly, his process was perfect. He converted a 3rd and 4 with a beautiful throw to Jordan Addison, and when the pocket collapsed, he tucked the ball and ran for 8 yards like he's been doing it for years. The expectations are astronomical because this Vikings roster is absolutely loaded. Justin Jefferson is the best receiver in the NFL. TJ Hawkinson is a Pro Bowl tight end. Aaron Jones just ran for over 1,100 yards. The defense finished second in the league in efficiency. This isn't a rebuilding team. This is a championship caliber roster. Here's the brutal truth that Sullivan is pointing out. McCarthy isn't just replacing Sam Darnold. He's trying to exceed what Darnold accomplished. Darnold threw for 35 touchdowns and led this team to 14 wins. That's not game manager numbers. That's MVP caliber production. But here's why I'm not worried about these expectations. McCarthy has been in big game situations his entire career. He went 27-1 as a starter at Michigan. He won a national championship. He set Michigan records for completion percentage. This kid knows how to perform when the lights are brightest. Kevin O'Connell has also created the perfect system for McCarthy to succeed. This offense is designed to get playmakers the ball in space and let them make plays. Jefferson, Addison, Hawkinson, and Jones are going to make McCarthy's job easier, not harder. The offensive line has been completely revamped with Ryan Kelly, Will Fries, and Donovan Jackson. Christian Darrisaw is healthy and back to elite form. This kid is going to have time to make throws and a clean pocket to work from. Here's my question for you, Purple Nation. Do these championship expectations excite you or make you nervous about McCarthy's development? Are you ready to see this kid elevate an already elite roster to Super Bowl heights? Drop your thoughts in the comments because this next story is going to absolutely devastate you when you hear what happened to one of our key weapons. Vikings fans, I need you to sit down for this one because what I'm about to tell you is absolutely heartbreaking and has the entire NFL talking about player safety. Our wide receiver, Rondale Moore, just suffered what Kevin O'Connell called a pretty significant knee injury on a play that has everyone questioning why the referees didn't throw a flag. Here's what happened that's got the entire organization furious. Moore was returning a punt in the second quarter against Houston when Texans linebacker Jamal Hill executed what appeared to be a textbook hip drop tackle, a tackling technique that the NFL banned before the 2024 season, specifically because it causes devastating lower body injuries. Kevin O'Connell was absolutely livid on the sideline, and after the game, he confirmed what we all saw. You know, if you saw me having some dialogue out there, that's what I was asking about. I have to watch the playback before I truly can give an opinion on it, but it was very, very unfortunate. It seemed like it had a lot of the characteristics of the hip drop tackle. Here's what makes this absolutely devastating. Moore suffered a torn ACL in his right knee last season with Atlanta and missed the entire 2024 season. Now he's potentially lost for 2025 with an injury to his left knee. This kid literally cannot catch a break, and it's happening on plays that are supposed to be illegal. The NFL defines a hip drop tackle as when a defender wraps up a ball carrier and rotates or swivels his hips, unweighting himself and dropping onto ball carrier's legs during the tackle. That's exactly what happened to Moore, and the fact that no flag was thrown has O'Connell questioning the entire officiating process. O'Connell's post-game comments were absolutely heartbreaking. It's one of the most painful things for me as a head coach when I feel that emotion. I make a life out of trying to leave others better than I found them. In that situation, there is nothing I can do, which is the worst feeling as a coach. Here's what's got me absolutely fired up. Moore was carted off the field with a towel over his head, and ESPN's Kevin Seifert reported that Rondale Moore is sitting on the cart and slamming it with his hands so hard that we can hear it in the press box. This kid was devastated, and rightfully so. The timing couldn't be worse for the Vikings. With Jordan Addison suspended for the first 3 games of the season, Moore was supposed to be a key contributor in the passing game and return specialist. He signed a 1-year, $2 million deal specifically to prove he could stay healthy and contribute to a championship team. But here's what's really got the NFL community outraged. Moore's teammates immediately knew how serious this was. Several Vikings players, including Justin Jefferson and J.J. McCarthy, walked across the field to kneel and pray for Moore while he was being treated. That's the kind of respect and concern you only see with devastating injuries. The hip drop tackle has been a major point of emphasis for the NFL because it consistently leads to serious lower body injuries. The league has been trying to coach this technique out of the game, but it's going to take time to completely eliminate it. Here's the brutal reality. Moore went from being a potential breakout star in Kevin O'Connell's offense to possibly missing another entire season because of a tackle that should have drawn a 15-yard penalty. His speed and playmaking ability were going to be crucial for the Vikings' championship aspirations. This injury completely changes the Vikings' depth chart and puts even more pressure on the remaining receivers to step up. Lucky Jackson, Ty Felton, and Jalen Naylor are now going to have to carry a heavier load than anyone expected. What's your reaction, Purple Nation? Are you furious that the referees missed this call? Do you think the NFL needs to do more to protect players from these dangerous tackles? Let me know in the comments, but this injury might force the Vikings' hand in free agency, and you're not going to believe the options that are available right now. Skull Nation, here's where this story takes a massive turn that could completely transform the Vikings' championship aspirations. With Rondale Moore potentially out for the season and Jordan Addison suspended for 3 games, the Vikings suddenly have a golden opportunity to add an elite playmaker that nobody saw coming. Here's the shocking reality. There are 7 legitimate NFL wide receivers sitting in free agency right now, and the number 1 option is going to absolutely blow your mind. We're talking about Amari Cooper, a guy who was once considered a top 10 receiver in the entire NFL and is available for signing today. Let me break down why this makes perfect sense for the Vikings. Cooper is a proven veteran who's played in big games, caught passes from elite quarterbacks, and knows how to win in pressure situations. This isn't some washed-up player looking for a paycheck. This is a legitimate WR2 who could instantly become JJ. McCarthy's safety blanket? Here's what's got me excited about this possibility. Cooper's skill set is absolutely perfect for Kevin O'Connell's offensive system. He's a route-running technician who can work the intermediate passing game, and he's got the size and hands to be reliable in clutch situations. With Justin Jefferson drawing double coverage, Cooper would have single coverage all season long. The timing couldn't be more perfect. The Vikings have the salary cap space to make a competitive offer, and Cooper has been waiting for the right situation rather than just taking the first contract offered. Minnesota represents a legitimate Super Bowl contender with an offensive-minded head coach who knows how to maximize receiver talent. But here's where it gets even more interesting. By the time Addison returns from suspension in Week 4, the Vikings could have a receiving core of Jefferson, Cooper, Addison, and Jalen Naylor. That's absolutely lethal depth that would give defensive coordinators nightmares. The other 6 receivers available include players who could provide immediate depth and special teams value. The Vikings front office is known for finding diamonds in the rough, and this injury situation might force them to be more aggressive in free agency than they originally planned. Here's what's really got me fired up. This could be the move that puts the Vikings over the top. They already have an elite defense, a revamped offensive line, and playmakers at every skill position. Adding a veteran receiver like Cooper would give JJ McCarthy the ultimate security blanket while he develops chemistry with the existing weapons. The Vikings have shown they're not afraid to make bold moves when championship windows are open. They traded for TJ Hawkinson mid-season. They signed Jonathan Greenard and Andrew Van Ginkel in free agency. They drafted Dallas Turner in the first round. This organization is all in on winning now. But here's the question that's eating at me. Are the Vikings going to be aggressive enough to pull the trigger on a move like this, or are they going to trust their current depth and hope guys like Lucky Jackson and Ty Felton can step up immediately? The championship implications are massive. If the Vikings can add Cooper or another proven veteran, they instantly become one of the most complete rosters in the entire NFL. The defense is already elite, the offensive line is revamped, and the skill position players are loaded with talent. Here's my final thought. Purple Nation, this Vikings team is closer to a Super Bowl than most people realize. The defense finished second in the league in efficiency. Justin Jefferson is the best receiver in football. The offensive line has been completely rebuilt. Adding one more proven weapon could be the difference between a playoff appearance and a championship run. What do you think the Vikings should do? Should they sign Amari Cooper immediately? Are you confident in the current depth, or do you want to see them add another proven veteran? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this decision could define the entire 2025 season. Make sure you smash that like button if you want to see the Vikings make a championship-level move in free agency. Hit subscribe and ring that notification bell, because we're going to be tracking every single Vikings transaction until this roster is finalized. And drop a skull in the comments if you believe this team is destined for greatness in 2025. The Vikings are building something special, and this upcoming season is going to be absolutely legendary. Stay locked in, Purple Faithful. Championship glory is within reach.